Cool.
Oh, thanks, yeah. Right, it's Colin here, bloody again here, putting on another video. We're still looking at this, I've seen this new name they've given for it is, what shall I say, given it, what do they call it now? Gone out of my head. This rape thing. They've given it, should have had it written down, not ready yet. Call it, what do they call it now? See if I can grab it in my mind. Sexual, I've just forgotten it now. Get forgetful. But anyway, so we're looking at this, and we're also looking at how it can overcome, by guys. You see, guys have been hearing my videos, and some of them have probably come to the conclusion, well, they don't want to be told, for example, I feel like saying things like, how many more times do I have to tell you that guys could be so-called raped by men day after day in supermarkets and in their own homes for 366 days every leap year, and for 10 years, and there might not be one solitary complaint. But I don't want to sort of start barking like that, because the opposite's the case. A lot of men will be agreeing with me and watching my videos and agreeing with me, and so you don't bark at somebody and you don't bark at womanhood, because they're not well. They're twisted molecules, a lot of them, not all of them. But it's men that's the problem. Dumb men, politicians, and judges on the bench. They're the ones that have got to be examined. In fact, it seems to me that sex has passed, manslaughter. Being the top one, it's got above manslaughter now, and it's got, in some cases, it's started to get past murder. The way things are going, it'll be past murder. It'll be the top one in New Zealand, just like it was in the United States. There, some cunt was fucking a woman, and he had a mask thing or something, so you couldn't see him. They finally got the cunt, and poor cunt, he was just heard the call and obeying the call, and what happened to him is he was up for robbery and one or two other things, but they wouldn't give life terms for that. And yet they go and give the cunt so many life terms when they got the cunt. Goodness me, they wouldn't even do that for 9/11. If they got one of these Muslims on 9/11, say, you might get 40 years, might give him the Quran to read, and might be in jail for 40 years, but no, so many life terms. I don't know what a man could hardly do to get so many life terms, and just fucking a woman what they want anyway. There's so many life terms. So it's past murder, well past murder is the top one in the United States, and it's going that way in New Zealand, because one cunt there, he was up for something for, I think it was fucking a few women, and they're talking about giving him 25 years in prison. Well, there you are. There's another one already, 5 years over murder. Not a problem in a sick country called New Zealand. At least the bloody politicians and bloody judges on the bench and that. But anyway, there's a lot of guys that's all for me, and we're sort of looking at how to solve this problem. Now, for the guys that's been listening to me and so on. Now, the answer for this problem is the same as in a big display. The same person is the answer, but there's going to be a difference. Like, you see, for big matters in New Zealand, like the White Island tragedy and Pike River Mine and Mosque attack and so on, and the earthquake that killed 115 people in Christchurch a few years ago, and just in one building, the building collapsed, wasn't built properly. Someone did tell me in town in Wellington here that why that building went down, but I never wrote it down in that quake. So in big things like that, you've got to have stadium prayer. And but in an individual matter, it's different. You just need to be yourself. Now, so individually, what I would like men to do, I'm not talking here to women, they know everything about sex, they know before they know. So I'm not talking about women. Women can listen to my videos if they want to. Because on the other hand, though, too, you see, you can't put all women on point 86, as I've said before. See, you take these two women, as I say, in the United States, were holding up their banner in the street, which read, "All girls secretly love being raped." And the smile on at least one of their faces, probably both. I saw it in a sex shop, actually, when I was in LA, and some years ago. And so you see, there are different ones. You see, you can't put all women on point 86. You can't put all men on point 86, as I've said before. So it creates a problem in a way, but so you can't sort of condemn all women as to being twisted molecules. So anyway, we'll get back to men here now. We'll see if we can salvage something about this problem. Now, in the long run, in the big areas like the Taliban taking over Afghanistan and big things like that, as I say, you need stadium prayer. And we could solve all the problems in the world that way. Certainly New Zealand, as I say, they cannot save the world when they cannot save themselves. There's so many problems in New Zealand, and they can't seem to stop it, the government. This is independent of sex too. Like, you see, we've got the White Island tragedy, nothing to do with sex, and Pike River Mine, and so on, So let's have a look then on an individual scale here for men here now with this so-called rape thing. Now, what I want you to do is to do the same thing that we're going to have to do in a major scale for New Zealand. The difference is that it's got to be done in a big way, but for a small matter, as it were, an individual matter, then it can be done by an individual. See, one person in New Zealand could be praying about the problems in New Zealand, but probably won't get very far as one person. But when you take stadium prayer, then it's different. Like, as I've said to you a number of times before, about New Zealand supposed to have been bombed. The Japanese, they had 4 aircraft carriers out there, and they were scheduled to start bombing New Zealand. That was in their plans. They had started to bomb around New Zealand, but not one bomb dropped on New Zealand, because they took the old town hall here in Wellington, still up, working on it, they're strengthening it and that. And as I've said to you before, I've said this before, but I'll say it again, strengthen it. Strengthen the building and strengthen what I'm saying is they took the old town hall and they prayed about that the Japanese wouldn't come to New Zealand. And it must have been a New Zealand-wide effort for that, and so not one bomb was dropped on Wellington. So that took, you see, sort of a lot of people, but if one guy had took the town hall, and no matter how strong he prayed, it probably wouldn't have made any difference. You've got to sort of take a lot of people for stadium prayer. And then God sees all these people in that, and he sees us sincere and such like, and then he can move, as he's done before. Sometimes it can happen on a small scale and that, but if you want something big done in Wellington, in New Zealand, you've got to really take stadiums. Anyway, getting back then to an individual guy here now, well, you're saying about this rape shit and that, and so he sort of says to me, well, what am I going to do about it? What do you want me to do? Well, the first thing to do is the same as what we're going to have to do. We're going to look to the Holy Spirit. So what I'd suggest for men to do is to ask the Holy Spirit to come into your life and help you. Other bloody wise, if you piss ass and are bloody around on your own, you can't get help the same. So ask him to come into your life, ask him to help you, ask him to save you, ask him to look to help you in this life. You could say, look, Holy Spirit, I get pissed off on my own. I just can't make it. You've got to help me, Holy Spirit. And if you want to start crying, then cry. If you want to cry, you must cry. Don't hold back your crying. Why? Because as I've told you before, that if in the lab you suppress gases in the lab, you'll have an explosion in the lab. You could do. And likewise, if you hold back your emotions, you're going to get same sort of thing's going to happen. You're going to get an explosion. And the explosion could come out in the form of arthritis. It could come out in a stroke. That could be a favourite one. A doctor told me that his father, when he got a stroke, he was like this. Now take a look at my mouth in a moment here. And just see my mouth in a moment. Now, did you see my mouth then? That's what his father was like all the time after he'd had a stroke. These strokes can be killers. It would have killed Mum, but Mum had a stroke about midnight, and just before, about a couple of hours before, God laid somebody on Reg's heart, a friend of mine, Reg, and he was interceding for this person during the night. He didn't know who it was, and so the next morning, Dad told me that your mother's got 48 hours whether she's going to live or not. And I had a dead night's sleep that night. Dad was trying to get a hold of me, but knocking on the door or something. But I was just about the deepest sleep I'd ever had in my life that night. If I'd have heard the knock on the door in my dream, I might have thought I was in my dream and, hello, what's just knocking on my door in my dream, seeing as part of the dream kind of thing. So Reg, it was just a small town, Warrell. So I went to see Reg. He was just next door, actually, working in a school there next door to our house and just over the fence. And he had a handicapped children that he was looking after. That was his school teacher, was him, he was a school teacher. So, of course, Reg could easily listen to me. So I went and saw Reg, and when I told Reg about Mum, then Reg knew what all the commotion was about on his part. It was Mum that it was. So we prayed together and in the classroom, and I got the assurance in my heart. I never had it before like that, or even hardly since, that everything was going to be all right. Well, that's all it was. It was just all right. It wasn't good and it wasn't too bad. Well, Mum was still alive, but she was literally only half the Mum I knew her. Literally, she's about exactly 50-50, maybe 51-49, either way, but more towards the stroke. She just had that stroke and she just was not the same Mum. She was like an imbecile up to a point. She was sort of like a half an imbecile. So it was, things were all right, you could say, I suppose, but certainly no more than that. And then Mum lived for some time afterwards, and so on. So that you see what you can get if you bottle up emotions. You can asking for a stroke and things like that. So you must cry. So therefore, then if you ask the Holy Spirit to come into your life and help you not only in your sex life but altogether, then if you feel like crying, see, the Holy Spirit is a person. You see, as I've mentioned to you before, he's not just a presence. He can be, but he's a person. And as I told you before, perhaps I could say one or two things again about this. Is that ever since Hitler walked into the Rhine in 1936, breaking the Locarno Treaty. Rees Howells, he was an intercessor, and his intercessors were interceding with Hitler. And then come 1938, about the same time, about October, November, the same time, a year later, when he did truck bombing the UK, he was going to attack Britain then, at that time in 38, October, November 38. But the message that the Holy Spirit had given Rees Howells and his intercessors was to bend Hitler. That was the message they got, bend Hitler. And as a result of their intercession, Hitler signed the Munich settlement. And when his generals came to Hitler and reproached Hitler for signing, Hitler was uneasy with himself, and he was moody, and he was just not the same man. Something had happened to Hitler. See, a voice that would speak to Hitler, tell him what to do, and he told Hitler that there's no better time than to attack the UK than that year in October, November 38. 38, was because Britain was totally unprepared for war. But apparently since then, from what I can gather, they were talking about getting ships and that, but they decided on the Hurricanes and the Spitfires, and they were the one that really saved the UK. So I think that they, in that last year, they just happened to build more. I'm not quite sure about that though. But anyway, so Hitler also said to Neville Chamberlain, he said to Neville Chamberlain rather bitterly too, Hitler said to him, "You're the only man that I've ever made a concession." And indeed he said that rather bitterly to Neville Chamberlain. The Holy Spirit had bent him, and he didn't know what the hell was going on. And his people lost faith in him too. Well, anyway, so I come up with that. Now, what did I say that for now about Hitler? That's right, the Holy Spirit is a person. He's a person. He's not just an influence. He can be a presence as well. So if you feel like crying, many times when the Holy Spirit comes upon people, they start crying. So that's right, so you must cry. Let it all out. Don't bottle it up. Otherwise, you see, that's what you see. You get a stroke, you get a heart attack, you get arthritis and anything like that. You get a real bad heart attack and you could just die straight away. Sometimes people get a heart attack and they're gone in about 1 minute. They did, because they got one, what do they call that kind of heart attack? I've forgotten what they call that particular kind. If they call it a certain name, I'm not quite sure. But sometimes people get that. My heart attack I got wasn't even a serious one. But the doctor said, you did not have a serious heart attack. In fact, you did not have a serious heart attack. But it was significant. And so on. But anyway, so we're looking then to ask the Holy Spirit to come into your life and help you, not only with sex, but with what should I say, with all the other aspects of your life. Go into a supermarket, you can take the Holy Spirit, ask the Holy Spirit, but now what do you want me to buy? So much food wasted in New Zealand, Holy Spirit. I don't want to be another one to waste food if I can help it. Ask me, help me, what do you want me to buy? And keep asking him all the time. The more you pray to him during the day, so if you walk into the bus, you can pray to him and thank him, and you can thank him, and you can pray to him on the bus, pray to him while you're doing the dishes. Keep in touch with him and get his help in your life, because he's the one that can help you. And if you don't want judgment, he won't give you judgment. But if you want judgment, then he can give you judgment too. And like he did at Moscow when he indirectly murdered 3 million, the crack German army died in the snow of early winter, came through Rees Howells. I don't want to keep on mentioning about that. Time goes quickly on this video. So we're looking then at this answer to this woman's problem. This what do they call it again now? Sexual violation. That's what sexual violation. So a girl bursts into a guy's door at 3 o'clock in the morning. She bangs knockily. You wonder who the hell is this banging up? She opens the door and this girl bursts in and grabs the cunt and puts him down on his bed or something and sexually violates him. And goodness gracious me, he'll be up all night texting guys, look what happened to me. This girl, she fucked me. Couldn't he be all excited about it? And they're all excited and she got it up nicely and all this sort of thing, and I'd be so excited. He wouldn't be able to sleep probably, he's so excited. And the other side is this so-called bloody sexual, what do they call it again, rape thing, sexual violation, yeah. So she could sexually violate men all day and every day, not a problem. They know that. Dumb judges on the bench, they probably give them long sentences. So as I say, sex now surpassing, it has surpassed it for a while, manslaughter. I've been reading cases of manslaughter, killing an 85-year-old girl. He got only 3 things. He got 20 hours community service. Goodness gracious me. It's a waste of time to give him any community service just to give him 20 hours for manslaughter, killing this 5-year-old girl with his car. And then he got another one. The licence was taken off him for 1 year. Oh, 1 year, eh? Well, just 1 year. Ready to go back once his licence comes, ready to go back to kill the next child. Not a problem. And then he did get 30,000 reparation he had to pay, but that's not going to make a vast difference because he's still going to live in the same house. Look like he's even been able to have his own car. That doesn't he have to sell his car to pay the 30,000? His lifestyle will be just the same. 3 meals a day, whatever he does, chocolate bars, whatever he wants to do. 3 meals a day. They won't even force him to stop, just have 2 meals or anything like that. Not a problem, so you just have to pay it back, I suppose. Not a problem, he's still got the same lifestyle. And this poor cunt in Cuba Mall kissing woman still gets 7 years. That they put a second appeal against this poor cunt. Nah, give him no parole, 7 years. Crazy bloody world, honestly. Women could kiss men in the street all the time. Not a problem. I think they've done it because they kept him in bloody jail because they're frightened that he might kiss people from out of Wellington, especially overseas, if they can get him in from overseas with this virus. And they're frightened that it'd be a bad name for Wellington. So they think they'll keep him in jail and save being bad name for Wellington. Still bloody shit, honestly. Anyway, getting back to you men now. So ask the Holy Spirit to come into your life. Don't fuck a bloody around. You can help you. You don't want to piss us in a bloody around on your own, mate. With me too, I got to get his help. I would have been killed on the roads a number of times. But I was only 1 second from death in Cable Street here in Wellington. There's a street called Cable Street. And this guy had come out of a parking, sort of a place by Te Papa. He just come out of there and he hadn't got full speed. And I ended up going in front of him. I was trapped on the other side from getting because a car swerved over and went on the side that I was going. I was going to cross the road. That was okay. But suddenly a car, it was coming along, swinged over and went on the far side where I was going and he's trapped me. So when I went back, and I went in front of this car, and I would have been all right, but he speeded up right in front of me. He didn't see me, and he smashed into my back wheel. So I was only about a second away from death because he'd speeded up. And he smashed into my back wheel, and But I just spun around on the ground and not a problem. I just slight pain, nothing to write home about. Even that went in a few minutes or so or whatever, not long. And I was okay and not a problem. And so I was only about 1 second from death because from your back wheel to your front wheel, how long will it take to get there, moving in front of him? If he had just swerved to the side a bit, I would have been killed if I was going in my direction where I was going. So that was just one, and there's others too. So he can protects me on the roads, but I've really got to help other people, and that's a bit of a long story, and I haven't got time to go into it. But my time's getting a bloody long here. See, what's the time? Oh, bugger it! This bloody thing happens again. This time goes 25 minutes. I've only got about 10 minutes left. So excuse me. So therefore, then, ask the Holy Spirit, come into your life, to save you, help you, pray to Him for guidance everywhere. If you go in the supermarket, guidance to what you want to buy, and so on. I've got to have to do these things myself, but I'm starting now to come right. I've been having one or two problems. Don't want to go into them because of time. Excuse me. So then make them part of your life, and then when you go about fucking, then you can. Then if you get the guidance of the Holy Spirit, if you're with them, if you kind of make him part of your life, like one cunt there in the United States, he got to the stage where he knew what to do and what not to do. It's a pretty good place to be in. You know what to do and what not to do. So anyway, if you're in prayer, say you're a person of prayer and you got the guidance of the Holy Spirit, and you said you wanted a fuck, say you want this fuck, but you've got to be specific. You see, what girl do you want to fuck, or if you're a woman, you want to fuck a guy. Okay, well you've got to be more specific. It's no good saying to God that you want to take care of the Taliban in Afghanistan. Otherwise, God could speak to you and say, "Look, you sick cunt. You say to me, take care of the Taliban, but fuck me dead. What do you exactly want me to do about the Taliban? I mean, fuck me dead. I mean, be more specific to me, you sick cunt. Fuck me dead." And so you've got to be specific, you see, on what you want God to do about the Taliban. You just can't just say, "Oh, take care of the Taliban." And it's like with a girl, you want to fuck a girl, you've got to kind of be more specific. More what kind of girl you want to fuck, and you'd be more specific, say roughly the age group you're looking at and the distance, and sort of more give a bit of an outline, and then thank him all the time, morning and night. Thank him for this, and look with expectation to this girl. You might come across her. She might you might be led to her, or she comes to you or something, and just keep looking at expectation. Expectation is a great manifestation of faith, to expect something. And you get a phone call, and think, "Oh, this might be this girl or whatever you're praying about." So live in a state of expectation and keep giving thanks all the time, because it seems to be something about thanks that you don't complete really a transaction unless really you give thanks. It seems to put a seal on the transaction. For example, I've said this before, that there was a couple of women, one woman in Cuba Mall in Wellington. There was a couple of girls there busking, and one of them had my mic at one time, and she kept moving it around by the cord, by the entrance, and it wears it out. And I tried to stop her doing that, so she was one of them. So they were busking, and a woman came along and put some money in, but these two girls at the time were away from the mic. They were several yards away, and they were looking down. I don't think they saw that woman put the money in. And I saw that woman look up to the children. She saw the children, but they still didn't see her. And there was a look on her face, of that woman's face that put the money in. There was something missing. I saw it on her face. And it probably was the giving of thanks. She sort of wanted them to know that she'd put the money in, somehow. So had those two girls saw her and put the money in, or they saw her, and they saw that she'd put money in, so they gave a smile and they waved, and they gave a wave to her, and they waved around and gave us a nice smile, then that would have completed the transaction because they were giving thanks. That there was a good cunt operating. He was a good cunt. He was a party goer, actually. He loved going to parties, and the Pharisees actually labelled him a wine bibbler because he went to parties. But he was a good cunt. But one time he saw these money changers doing money laundering in the house of the Lord. So he got a whip, made up a whip, and he tipped over their tables and said to them, look, when he did that, they said to him, look, what are you doing, you bastard? Where's your bloody authority? Coming bloody around here like this. Where's your authority? And so Jesus said to him, look, you cunts. Look, you're desecrating the house of the Lord. Fuck me dead. Look, you're turning into a den of thieves. This is the house of the Lord here, house of prayer. Fuck me dead. Piss off. Fuck off. Go somewhere else. So they said to him, look, excuse me. They said, look, fuck me dead. Look, why don't you come to us like a man and talk to us like we would have understood? We're bloody agree with you. Well, we're going to go. Fuck me dead. I mean, why didn't you ask? Look at the fucking mess you made, you cunt. And these bloody guys you're bloody hanging around with too. You're a gay cunt, are you? And this cunt Jesus says to them, no, I'm not a gay cunt, actually. What are you doing with these bloody hanging around these bloody guys? I'm training them up to, when I go, they'll be bloody around and taking this healing thing that I'm doing themselves. I'm training them up. So anyway, one day this cunt, Jesus, he's a good cunt. And his father's overall a good cunt too, but they all can be judgmental, even the Holy Spirit. So anyway, what happened was 10, you might know about this, it's quite well known, 10 guys who had lepers came to him wanting to be cleansed. So Jesus said to them, this cunt said to them, what do you want me to do for you? And so they said, we want to heal the leprosy. So he told them to go and wash in a particular river. So I think it was a dirty river actually too. But anyway, they did that. And of course, this is a well-known story, but some of you might not know it. So anyway, only one cunt came back and he gave thanks. And Jesus looked a bloody round and he said, were there not 10 cunts? Where are the other 9 cunts? So you see by that this cunt, Jesus, he's a good cunt. He's a good cunt, and overall, he tried to help people on that. And so he raised the dead and all. He's a good cunt. So anyway, so the giving of thanks. So he didn't say no to the giving of thanks. You see, he says, what are the other 10? Where are the other 9 cunts? And so on. So it's important to give thanks. I think my time's going to go to here. By God, I never get enough time to do these videos. Oh shit, it's 34 minutes. Oh, by God. I've only got 1 minute left, so I haven't got enough time. I'll put another video on. So therefore, then in my last minute or two, then get the Holy Spirit to help you. Ask him, be specific to, and give him thanks. Yeah, because Agnes Sanford from the United States said, "Please open the door and thank you holds it open." There's something about thanks which is good. So keep thanking him all the time, and then your girl might turn up or something. But the more you spend time in prayer with him, and you can just pray during the day, in the bus, going to the bus, dishes and that. And there's always times you can keep praying in these dead times. Keep in prayer to him if you can, and closer you get to the Holy Spirit, the more you've got, the more what shall I say? The more the closer you get, the better it is. Put it that way. Yonggi Cho found that if he just spent 1 hour in prayer, he got no healings or very little healings, if any. But when he spent an average of about two and a half hours in prayer, then he began to get healings. Well, my time's up here. It's 35 minutes, so I must close. So we'll keep in touch then. So that's the thing then. In the short run, not only with females who to fuck them, give the Holy Spirit an outline who you want to fuck and so on, and then but all in your life, a job you want a job, be specific about the kind of job you want and such like. Keep close to Him in prayer, and then things can work out for you. Well, I must close then. So this is Colin then signing off. And I'll put on another video, maybe today or another time, and we'll keep moving until we get you right and the whole of New Zealand right, and then New Zealand can take it to the world. But as I say, New Zealand cannot save the world, can't even save itself. So we've got to save the world, New Zealand first. That's going to take time. But anyway, I must close. So it's Colin then signing off. Bye for now.